And we are back with Lisa Waters Lane in the studio. She comes each week with your garden questions. Just what are your neighbors talking about? And boy, have we gotten the questions about wind and hail and every other storm thing that happened in the city this last week. This North Country. It hit everywhere. So welcome to the studio, Lisa.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Yep.
Yeah, that was quite the storm.
Was that Monday or Tuesday or
Monday?
Several days.
It was Monday.
So it's been a week, and things are starting to dry out. The trees got beat up. A lot of our trees got blown over. The trees in boxes got blown over. Trees just in the yard got blown over. Our coleus, you see our coleus in the back patio?
Poor baby.
Huge 4-foot coleus is now laying down the ground. I staked it up this morning, trying to get it to be glorious again. So that's just part of the mountain storms.
Yeah, broke our gazing ball. I saw pieces all over the ground.
Yeah, got it all picked up before the puppy eats the char. Who knows what puppies are thinking sometimes.
Wow, especially Tilly.
So,
So quite the storm. And we do have a question about that. Scott in Prescott, his neighbor's aspen went over. So they were able to put it back upright and kind of restake it. His question is, what are the odds of survival for it? Will it make it? And what can he do to help with the survival?
Yeah. So if your tree's down or maybe it cracked, here's a couple of things we can do. So aspens have shallow, wide roots. And so it probably had roots where the watering system was, and maybe didn't have it on the leeward side of the wind. And so it just kind of gave way. My guess is some of the roots were still left in the ground. Otherwise would have snapped off and you wouldn't have tried to pick it back up. So Scott, I'm just some assumptions here. If you set it back up, it's probably going to live. You'll be fine. You need to get some more roots forming because you did snap off some of those roots. What do? So lean it back up. And then you're not going to have a lot of roots until after you get some this fall and then some next spring. After next spring's flush of growth, it'll probably be all fine. And you'll know by next spring, it recovered, or the work my neighbor and I did, it worked, or it didn't work. You don't know until next year, so it's worth a try. Right now, fertilize. Put the 744 all-purpose plant food all around that root structure. That'll increase bud growth for next spring, leaf growth, the catkins. It'll just help the overall growth. But in addition, get a bag of humic. Humic is humic acid. It's a granular. You spread it like your fertilizers, but it encourages deeper roots. It stimulates, tickles the feet of trees, of plants, and helps it to root out. Generally, we use humic on stressed out plants or brand new plants. You just want to get rooted out faster. That's what it's really for. Or you're starting a new lawn, you get new bulbs on flower bulbs, things you want to root out quickly and then get them to grow. But it would really work on your aspen that fell over, any tree that's stressed like that. So humic and the all-purpose plant food, spread them right now by the end of the month or right away this weekend. Spread it, and that'll help you over the next several months for it to reroot. And what you're after is you want those roots to extend out so that you can eventually, maybe this time next year, pull those stakes off, and now the tree will stand up by itself. So that's the goal. Otherwise, you've got a weak tree that's going to blow over in the house or do something not good. So kind of watch that one. Keep it staked for a year, and then humic, all-purpose food. The other one I'm hearing sometimes is it had a Y, and the tree actually split in two. So it's got this giant split through the entire tree. What do you do there? Yeah, you could band it together, but that doesn't work very well because the tree will actually grow over that band and it gets kind of weird and kind of funky. You're better off to get a piece of all thread from your hardware store. Head down to True Value or Ace. Drill a hole right through the middle of that tree and just get a big washer and some bolts. Just screw it together and bring it back together. That's your best bet. And so the tree will actually grow over all that hardware. And you'll never know that it was a problem. That's the only chance you have. If it's split right to the ground, that's a little awkward. But if you think you can bring it together, drill a hole right to the tree, 2 bolts on either end, screw it together, and all thread that'll kind of bring it together. And again, after a year or two, you'll get that cambium layer growing over it. That next ring of wood will grow over that break and it'll finally get its strength back. So if you've got some wind damage, if in doubt, come talk to us. We'll help you figure it out. Take a picture. Again, with the one that's split in the middle, you got the all thread through it. Again, all-purpose plant food and humic, the same thing you do for that tree, because you're trying to get that next spring's growth larger, so a bigger band of wood will actually grow around that. It'll heal itself over time. So I've done that several times with trees. It does work. Done it for really big trees and it works.
Yeah. So when you have storms like that, you see the weakness of improper watering.
Right. Yeah.
So I would say come talk to us about watering too, because all these trees that just went whoop because they had no roots, there's a reason they went.
Shallow plants. It's just you're watering frequently and not very deep. And so the roots are right there on the surface and the wind just shows any weakness. It just shows it right there. It just pops it right out of the ground.
Right. Okay. Next question is from Allison in Chinos. Her gardener wants her to prune back her apple and peach trees right now.
Okay.
She wants to know, is that okay? Is it too early? Is it better to wait?
So, okay. Might be time for a new gardener. I'm not sure. So you can prune it now. You can absolutely do it. The book says you can prune up to 10% of your foliage mass any time of year you want. That's kind of a haircut. It's a major pruning. You're trying to keep it down. You prune up to 30%, a third of the foliage mass, so the branch structure. This is a major cutback. That's done generally in the winter, so January through March. You could do it now, but the sap is flowing so fast, and there's still a lot of bugs out. So the insects will be drawn to the sap of a fruit tree, especially. And so you're making that major cut, and you're going to get potential for fungal and insect problems. You've got woodpeckers can come in. There's all kinds of things that can happen. January, the sap is shut down. It's flowing very slowly. It's kind of in stasis. So you can make a cut, and really you don't even need that black tar kind of stuff over the cut because the winter just kind of seals it off for you. If you're making a cut now, for sure, you're going to need that black tree pruning paint. Come and get a bottle and we'll help you administer that. But I would say if you could wait on fruit trees, wait until January, February, first part of March. That's the peak window. If you're reading any kind of garden books, that's what it tells you. That includes any kind of fruit tree, apples, pears, cherries, apricots, nectarines, pomegranates, you name it. They're all going to benefit from a winter pruning.
Okay. All right. Next question is from Jack in PV. He wants to know what's the difference between products that are advertised as Winterizer fertilizers or winter fertilizers and the all-purpose food that we have.
Good question, Jack. Yeah, that's a great one. So they're saying Winterizer, that's a chemical fertilizer. So they're going to use petroleum-based chemicals come up with the carbon that the plants will feed off of. And there's a different winter formula than there is to a summer. So they release at different rates. The summer ones can't be picked up in the winter by plants, and winter ones can't be picked up in the summer. So you need different chemicals to fertilize with. All-purpose plant food, the one that we sell here, is organic. Organic, there is no difference. The plants are picking it up organically. It breaks down slower over a longer period of time. And so now you only need one kind of fertilizer and it will work winter, summer, fall. It just doesn't matter. Be consistent with it. It's the main thing there. Ours actually has the benefit of, it's got sulfur and iron, some other minerals in it that actually will create more health for that plant. It'll green it up better and over a longer period of time. I'd say, Jack, if you had a choice, buy it from Waters Garden Center. It's a better fertilizer made for us. It's organic. It's not going to kill your birds or your pets. It's safer, and you don't have to think through, is it winter or summer or which one do I use? But that's really the difference. Chemicals, they'll have to define the season that it's used. Organics, you don't. So great question, though. Ken and Lisa Lane, the Mountain Gardeners. We'll be back right after this important message.